Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to my kitchen. Today I want to demonstrate how you can make Mediterranean olive bread that'll blow your socks off.
Like this. You won't be able to find anything that compares to it on the shelf, and it's remarkably easy to make. No kneading. Mother Nature does the kneading for you. No yeast proofing. Instant yeast doesn't require any proofing. No mixer. Ingredients can be combined with a spoon. This recipe uses a blend of Mediterranean olives, olive oil, thyme, and lemon and has a wow factor of 10. I'll be using 3 cups bread flour, 1½ teaspoons salt, a 1/4 teaspoon instant yeast, 1 teaspoon thyme, zest of 1 lemon, 1 can sliced black olives, 3 ounces stuffed green olives, 3½ ounces pitted Kalamata olives, 1 tablespoon olive oil, and 12 ounces cool tap water. I'm going to start by prepping the olives. First, the black olives. I use 1 can of sliced black olives. After I drain the water, the can will be about 3/4 full. Next, I'll use a tablespoon to take the stuffed green olives out of the jar. Fill the black olive can with the olives. That will give me more green olives than black olives. I leave the pimentos in and slice the green olives in half. You can dice them if you want to, but I like chunks, not bits and pieces. Next, I'll use the tablespoon to take the pitted Kalamata olives out of the container. Fill the black olive can overflowing with the olives. That will give me more Kalamata olives than green olives. No one wants to weigh the olives, and there's no reason to use a measuring cup. By using the black olive can, I was able to proportion the olives consistently and conveniently. I like to slice the Kalamata olives into thirds, not too big, not too small. The olives are prepped and ready to go, and I set up my workspace with my utensils and my ingredients. I'm going to start with the dry ingredients. 3 cups flour. I use the scoop and shake method for measuring flour. This recipe is very forgiving and you don't have to be exact. Next, 1½ teaspoons salt. I use everyday table salt. There are a number of no-knead recipes in which the salt varies from 1 to 2 teaspoons. Depending upon your diet, I use a heaping teaspoon to get my teaspoon and a half. 1/4 teaspoon instant yeast, sometimes referred to as bread machine yeast. I'm going to give it a little stir just to mix the ingredients. One teaspoon thyme. Thyme has a nice lemony flavor and is frequently used in Mediterranean cooking. And the zest of 1 lemon. This utensil looks like a file, but it's a lemon zester. It will give me nice fine shavings. Before we add the olives, I'm going to give the dry ingredients another stir just to make sure they're evenly distributed. Let's add the olives and mix them in. Next, the wet ingredients. 1 tablespoon olive oil, and I'm using the same tablespoon I used to take the olives out of their containers. And 12 ounces cool tap water. Next, we'll combine the wet and dry ingredients. This is one of the easiest no-knead breads to mix. It will look like the proportion of dough to olives is off, but the dough is going to double in volume, and we want every slice to have a taste of olives. Remember, no one ever complains about having too many chocolate chips in their cookies. Likewise, they will want olives in every slice. I'm just going to scrape the sides of the bowl and form the dough into a ball. And we're done. That was easy. No mixer, no kneading, no yeast proofing. All I had to do was mix the wet and dry ingredients. All we need to do now is cover the bowl with plastic wrap, leave it on the counter to proof, and Mother Nature will do the kneading for us. I'll see you in the morning. Mediterranean olive bread needs to be proofed for 12 to 24 hours, so I proof it overnight. I can bake it either tomorrow morning or evening, whichever fits into my schedule. The dough is proofed overnight and more than doubled in size. It's time to fold, shape, and proof the dough a second time. Bakers have known for years that bread benefits from long proofing times. The no-knead method takes advantage of this principle. It uses a minimum amount of yeast and long proofing times to develop flavor. Meanwhile, the long proofing time replaces the arduous task of kneading. Mother Nature does the kneading for you. There are a variety of baking vessels you can use. If you want to use a Dutch oven or Cornwall casserole dish, you should proof your dough in a small skillet. I enjoy Mediterranean olive bread in long narrow loaves, and I'll be using a clay baker, so I set 2 sheets of parchment paper off to the side of my workspace. Next, I'll dust the workspace with flour and scrape the dough out of the bowl. Its strange nature tells us Mother Nature has done her job. With floured hands, I'm going to lightly pat the dough to flatten. Then using a plastic bowl scraper, I'll fold the dough over onto itself, forming a ball. I'll cut the dough in half and form each half into a long loaf. I've placed the dough on the parchment paper and covered it with a flour sack towel to proof. Before I leave the kitchen, I'll prep the oven. I've positioned the rack in the lower part of the oven and inserted the baking vessel. I do it in advance so I don't forget. I'm going to proof the dough for an hour and a half, and I want to preheat the oven for half an hour, so I'm setting the timer for 1 hour. Dough should be proofed for 1 to 2 hours, and the oven should be preheated. It's been 1 hour, and I'm setting the oven to 450 degrees. Clay bakers come to temperature faster than cast iron Dutch ovens, so I can start baking as soon as the oven comes to temperature.
The dough is proofed for over an hour and the oven has come to temperature. Let's bake the bread.
All I need to do now is pick the dough up using the parchment paper as a sling. Put it into the baker, and it will be ready for the oven. Next, I'll set the timer for 25 minutes. See you then. The bread should be baked for 25 minutes with the lid on the clay baker, then 10 minutes with the lid off to finish the crust. After 25 minutes, I took the top off and reset the timer for an additional 10 minutes. I took the first loaf out and repeated the process for the second loaf. I baked it for 25 minutes with the top on, 10 minutes with the top off. The second loaf is ready. Let's take a look. This is truly a beautiful and delicious loaf. This Mediterranean olive bread has a wow factor of 10. If a restaurant served you this loaf as their signature bread, you'd be talking about it for years. Mediterranean food centers around olive oil, so for lunch I served it with olive oil in a bowl of fire-roasted tomato soup. I flavored the olive oil with a splash of balsamic vinegar and a dash of Montreal seasoning. For happy hour I made an appetizer plate of sliced and cubed bread with bruschettas. I drizzled the bruschetta with olive oil and broiled them. I left some plain, some have Parmesan cheese, and some have grape tomatoes. Something for everybody. I have a variety of no-knead bread videos. To make it easier for the viewer, I made a no-knead bread overview video, which gives a quick 20-second overview of each of the videos available. To watch the overview, just click on the channel tab above this screen. It's free.